We've had 6 tankers struck in the span of a month. We've had major infrastructure like Saudi's East-West pipeline hit. The Houthis have attacked sites in Saudi Arabia, like an airport, a desalination plant, and they've restarted the nuclear program. So the question is, if we impose additional sanctions, are the Iranians going to up their response, or are they going to back down? I mean, the question is, how much more is there to target? You can certainly target more individuals. You can certainly try to target more Revolutionary Guard corporations. You can be more stringent in enforcement, so you can be very, very vigorous in saying to foreign refineries, don't take the oil, telling countries not to take the gas. But they are already under very severe sanctions. So the question is, how much more can you do? There are also reports, though, that we may step up covert activities, which is interesting because usually that kept quiet.
Well, we saw some of that right over the weekend. Cyber attacks. Yeah.
Those, I think, is what we probably will go to. I mean, people talk about covert action as something you do when you don't want to put boots on the ground. So I think that type of escalation we can expect. And again, the issue is, do the Iranians back down? They show a tendency of showing force when they're in a corner.
So one of the sort of analyses that I saw about this was that the Iranians want a higher oil price. And one of their motivations is to cause, the kinds of skirmishes that may stop short of destroying their own economy, but boost the oil price. Is there something to be said for the U.S. or international response to be muted because it will actually undermine a price spike that would help Iran?
I mean, the Iranians have lost so many exports. I mean, they are down 2 million barrels of exports from a year ago. They're basically about 500,000 barrels at this point. I mean, getting the price, it would have to be so high to offset that. So, of course, they would like a higher oil price. But I think what they're trying to show is to their rivals in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, UAE, if we can't sell our oil, neither can you.
So what's the international community supposed to do? I mean, this is all being framed as, tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Well, it wasn't our ships they blew out of the water. I mean, those were UAE assets. One was a Norwegian-owned ship.
One was a Japanese ship. While the Japanese prime minister was in Iran at the time.
Absolutely.
I thought one of the really interesting interviews that took place over the weekend was Hadley Gamble's interview with Brian Hook. He's our special envoy for Iran. He essentially said, look, it's not the role of the United States to be the only one to protect shipping lanes for crude going to Asia. So that is one of the question marks is, are we going to start asking other countries to play a bigger role in the protection of sea lanes?
Yeah, I mean, so if Japan needs that,
if China needs that oil, if Singapore needs that oil, are they going to play a role in the defense of those shipping lanes?
Do we want China to be the one policing, the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman?
Well, I mean, the question is, should we ask for financial contributions as well? I mean, we have the Fifth Fleet there. We have the Blue Water Navy. But should the United States alone bear the financial cost of that? I think that is increasingly coming into question.
And so we await this announcement for possible sanctions, which, as you've said, we're 90% there. There's not a lot left to do. Maybe we get more covert actions. And the president has said he's basically drawn a red line about their nuclear program. Do you think that's something that's going to be acceptable?
I mean, I think from the Iranian standpoint, they want to see significant concessions from our side in terms of peeling back these sanctions before they come to the negotiating table. I mean, the Iranians before have entered into negotiations, but again, we offered them things. If you think about the Obama administration, we allowed them to retain the nuclear program or the parts of the nuclear program. Basically, we said you can keep your centrifuges, you just can't spin the high-level ones. So we made concessions to get them there. The question is, will taking this hard line force them to yield, or are they going to escalate in the interim?